Hi, everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy, and I'm just going to throw away. Usually, I do announcements at this part of the video, but I'm going to toss all that out because I have someone pretty cool with me today. I would like to introduce the actress Skylar Benton. She is making her lead role debut in an upcoming short film that's going to make its New York premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival this year in June. It is called Girls Night In. Skylar, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
And so, for those unfamiliar, tell us a little bit about your backstory, your history with acting, and how you got in Girls Night In.
Yeah, cool. So this is actually my first speaking role, which is like a very big deal for me. But before that, I've mostly just been in like music videos, commercials, and that type of thing. So I'm really excited I got to kind of break into this new portion of my career, and I'm like so surprised and shocked that it's going so far at this point. I've had a lot of people be like, that's not normal. It's not normal for your first role to like go to Tribeca Film Festival. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
And one thing that's really cool about this is it's a horror film, and I now we're not going to give spoilers on this talk, or we're going to try to avoid giving spoilers. But I was able to view the film, and it's very good. It's very interesting. I One of the things about it, besides your performance, that I really liked is the sort of the lighting in it is very good, and one thing I would like for you to talk about is your role, and what is something that connected you with the character?
That was super fun. So I was actually supposed to read for the other role of Becca, and I remember reading it, and I was like, oh, she's not really like me at all. And I just remember being really drawn to Delaney because she was super sassy and confident. She just like had all these little remarks, and I was like, oh, that's just so me. So I ended up getting this role. We did a switch in the audition. I was like reading for Becca, and they're like, oh, Skylar, like, why don't you try reading for the other one? And I was like, yes. I was like, this is gonna be great. And so I read for that one, and they're like, oh yeah, that went really well. And so I actually ended up getting casted as Delaney, and I was super shocked at how like easily her words just like fell out of my mouth. I was like, oh, this girl is just me. She's just like so close to who I am. So it honestly just came super naturally, which was awesome, especially for something that's your first project, and you're like, I hope I don't mess this up.
And one thing, as I alluded to earlier, one of the things I really like is if you get a chance to see the short film, I highly recommend it, Girls Night In, because one of the things I particularly liked about it, as I mentioned, I liked how the lighting played. So there were scenes where the lighting would be normal, and then it would shift to sort of alternating colors. So there's like a blue, and there's a scene where there's like a lot of blue and pinks, and there's a scene where there was a lot of red. And I'm curious, was that put into post, or was that happening while you were recording? Because I thought that I was like, because you and your co-star do a great job in it, and I was like, if I was acting in this now, granted, I've been in one commercial my whole life, so that's so I'm not an expert, but I was thinking that would be very distracting, but. So I'm curious how that worked. Did that happen in post, or was that happening as y'all were recording, as y'all were filming?
Yeah, that was happening as we were going. And I
Wow.
remember they were very specific on the lighting, and I think that's what was taking a long time when we were shooting, because we actually only had 12 hours to shoot this thing.
Oh,
Like
wow.
just yeah, it was a 12-hour overnight, like 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Valentine's Day. And
Wow.
yeah, the lighting was happening as it was going, and I just remember being like, oh, this is taking a while. And then seeing it in the movie, I was like, oh, this is so sick. Like, you have no idea what it's going to be later. And it's just the red lighting. And I was like, I wonder if other people will notice this. Because I remember watching it, and obviously I knew what was going on because, I was there when it's happening. And I was like, is everyone else seeing this red, creepy lighting in the background? And like the subtle shadows behind you? I'm like, because most of the time you're so focused on the actor, like in the front. And then you're
Mhm.
like, well, stuff going on in the background. You're like, oh, what was that?
And this is one thing I'm not. 100% sure the process of when you do a short film. I've been in some, but they were like school projects, nothing on the scale probably this was. But I'm curious where whenever you're having to put on, and I'll give a summation of the movie. I won't, like I said, no spoilers, but it's basically it's these two girls who are having a girls' night in. The host, who is Becca, she gets a mysterious knock on her door, and she thinks it's your character, but it turns out it's someone who has, shall we say, some scary plans for the girls, and that comes into play later in the film. And I'm curious, were you excited to be part of a horror film? Because I find that a lot of actors and actresses have gotten their starts in horror films. I really find that that is really interesting. What was it like working on a horror film, and is that a genre that you normally enjoy?
This is hilarious to me because I don't actually watch scary movies. I feel like I've been getting all these questions in the interviews, and I was like, oh, I'm the absolute worst. Everyone's like, what's your favorite horror film? And I'm like, none. I'm like, I'm such a baby. I'm like literally the person that will hide under the blanket and just be like, can I watch now? But I was really excited because obviously, like, you know, I knew what was going to happen. It wasn't too scary. And then even watching it, I was like, but even no, it was really exciting. And yeah, I also knew that a lot of people got their start in horror genre, and I was like, okay, like maybe this is just the beginning.
That is really cool. I always think that it's whenever I look at an actor or an actress in their first film roles, it's always amazing to me. And so, you say horror isn't your favorite genre. What is your favorite genre of film? What do you like to go see on a Friday night or Saturday? What's your movie taste?
I'm so cheesy. I'm like rom-coms all the way. I'm like light, heartfelt. Oh, I'm also like really obsessed with period pieces. It's the costuming. It's because I really like fashion, and I find like the cool costuming of like the 18th, like hundreds, like big skirts and like Marie Antoinette like wigs is so exciting to me. So I'm like, that's my type of movie.
Oh, that's really cool. Tell me, whenever you approach acting, like how are you trained? Are you self-taught? Did you train in a certain school? Like what kind of acting do you see as your style?
I haven't actually gone to any proper classes yet, and that's why I was so nervous to do this short, is because everyone on the short is like very accomplished. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I can pull this off. I actually didn't tell anyone that I had never done a speaking role before. I was like, I'm going to wait till later in case I totally bomb. Um, but so my first leading role in a music video was super exciting because I basically had to convince this band that I liked. They found me on Instagram, and they're like, oh yeah, like we'd love to have you in our music video, but it's like for this role, it's really intense. She's like a bipolar, schizophrenic, like drug addict, and it's based on the singer's sister. So you got to be able to pull it off. And I was like, yeah, and I just like convinced them I could do it, and I think I just committed 100%. And I was like, oh, I might actually like be decent at this, but you know, like speaking roles are like a whole nother level. But I think because Delaney was so close to who I am, maybe I got really lucky with it happening all naturally. But no, I've never had like proper training. And then everyone was super surprised later, and they're like, "You never taken classes before?" And I was like, "No." And then I think my whole life also people are like, "Oh, you're very expressive in your face, so you probably like would be good at this, but you just don't know until you're actually in front of the camera." And I was like, oh, that actually turned out pretty well.
And the movie is making waves all over the place. It's been to Screamfest, it's been to the London International Short Film Fest, and I'm curious, how many of these film fests have you personally been to, and which one did you have a blast at, shall we say?
I got to go to Screamfest because it was at the Chinese theater. A lot of the other ones were like out of the country, which would have been awesome to go to. But I did Screamfest because it was right before my birthday. And we went to the opening night, Landon, the writer, and we got to do like the red carpet and the press night. And I just honestly felt like such a movie star that night. Bought like the dress and the hair and the makeup and like all of the things. So that one was super cool. And we got to see the opening movie for Screamfest, which was nice. And then we debuted the next day with like the whole cast and crew and everything. So that was pretty fun.
That's really neat, and it's headed toward to the Tribeca Film Festival, which I'm sure it's going to make waves there as well. And the what point did you go, oh my gosh, this thing is taking off? Because I'm curious, because it's doing really well at all of these film festivals. It's being cited. It's people are praising it. When did you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be a real thing?
I was honestly thinking that during the shoot, just because actually most of the people I had already worked with, and they, like I said, are so accomplished in their careers. And I was like, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So my friends are like very good at what they do. And then, like I said, just seeing the movie completed, I was like, just like shocked at how well everything came together. And then it just started taking off with all these festivals. And then I think Screamfest was a big one because I was like, oh, I can actually attend. Like, this is a proper film festival. And then I just remember getting a call from Landon, and she was like, all I ever wanted was to go to Tribeca, and we did it. And I was like, nice. What? Like, so shocked. And I was like, I just wonder, like, how far it'll keep going. Like, do you go higher than Tribeca? Like, what's the next step?
Oh, I imagine there is going to be a lot more steps to it for sure. And with your co-star Jess Adams, what was it? So, because the movie is basically the two of you, and what was it like working with her? Because. Again, I'm trying not to give things away, but you're put in like this very intense survival situation, and so I'm curious, when had y'all worked together before, or was this your first time working together, and how did that all come together? Because, like I said, on screen, y'all performed very well.
Yeah, I've actually known Jess, oh gosh, for like 8 years. I think she was kind of one of the first people I met in LA. We actually met doing a modeling gig, but recently, like a year or two ago, like right before COVID, we got booked on something that was supposed to go for the Hollywood show that Ryan Murphy did. We were actually supposed to be like the opening credits for it, and I got booked as Marilyn, and she got booked as Elizabeth Taylor, and that was like probably one of the funnest jobs we had done together before Girls Night In. So we had kind of been, orbiting in each other's life, and then we booked this, and it was just so nice because we already know each other quite well, and so the chemistry was already there, and she's already done like a lot of speaking roles too, so she was quite good at what she was doing. And like I said, so this is my first time, and it was really interesting to be able to react off her reactions, basically, because it's just things that aren't in the script. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And Allie would be like, oh, like, just do this again so Skylar can do that face again, And I was like, oh, this is just so cool. Like, I'm like a professional dancer, so I'm not used to reacting off people like that in the moment. It's all like very choreographed lifestyle. But yeah, working with Jess was just super easy, and like being with my friends just kind of felt like a family reunion, like on set.
And I always ask this because the role of the director always fascinates me. And what was it like working with Alison Roberto? She directs the film, obviously. How would you describe Alison's style, and what was it like to work with her on this project?
Yeah, Allie was really lovely. I remember I like looked at her resume before I read for her, and I was like, she's like works for Netflix and all these other like big companies. I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh God, I can't tell her. I've never done anything. But she was just so lovely. Her and Landon both just kind of let me run with Delaney as my character. Like, yeah, like, do what you want. Like, add your own little spin on her. And it was just so lovely. And Allie, I remember she showed us like her inspo boards before we did the shoot. And I was like, damn, like it was just so lovely. And a lot of the lighting ideas that came from her, I believe, and I was just like, God, this is gonna look amazing, and her mood boards are always really great because I did a project with her after that, and I was just like, God, this girl, so good.
And it is structured very well, and I'm curious, do you have any future projects that you can talk about that are upcoming, or at least give us hints about?
It's kind of tricky because I've actually been in Australia since February. I'm in Australia now. It's 7 in the morning. Yeah, so I haven't been able to do many auditions, which my agents are loving at the moment, because I've been on tour in like a cabaret show since February, and I'll be here until September. So I'm just like popping back over to do Tribeca, and then hopefully when I get back to LA in September, I'll be able to have more upcoming projects.
That's really cool. And what is so you're saying you're on tour? What kind of show was it? You said it. I don't want to misquote you.
It's okay. It's called Blanc de Blanc Encore, and it's like a cabaret circus comedy show.
Oh,
It's
nice.
pretty wild. It's basically based on champagne and partying. And I'm a dancer in it, and I do like minimal aerial. But it's super fun. I've been touring with them since 2019. We opened up in the Sydney Opera House, at the beginning of 2019. And then we were doing like Adelaide Fringe Festival in 2020, and then COVID hit, and it was super surreal because it's like we put our whole lives on pause for 2 years, and then exactly 2 years later they were like, "Do you want to come back and do Adelaide Fringe again, and then stay for a very long time after that?" And I was like, "Okay, I could do that."
Now I ask all whether actor, actress, director, producer. I always ask this. I'm curious your reply. There's a lot of because right now franchises are the thing in Hollywood right now. Is there a particular sci-fi or superhero franchise that you, or it doesn't have to be one of those? Is there a particular franchise that you would be, hey, I would like to be in that. I think that would be cool. What is there? Do you have a favorite?
This is why I feel like I'm such a bad actor, is because I never really watch a lot of movies. My mom and my friend are like so into the action, like all the Marvels and those kind of things, and I'm just like, I don't really watch any of them. I was trying to look into franchises off the top of my head. I was looking because one of my favorite movies is Atomic Blonde. I don't know if you saw that one. Hot. But like it's the same director who did John Wick and like all those other action movies. It's not a franchise, but I was like, I think I would really love to do that because I had to learn some stunts for this film. I mean, nothing like Atomic Blonde, but I was like, I think I'd be really good at like learning stunts because I already do choreography for dancing, and I was like, I'd like to be in something like that. Not a franchise, but
well, no, it's an action genre. That is really cool. And so tell for everyone, where can people find you and what you're doing next?
Okay, cool. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at that Skylar girl. And I'll be touring with Blanc de Blanc show until September, and then I am popping back over just to go to Tribeca. So if you are there, please come say hi to me. This is like such a surreal moment for me, and I would love to talk to anyone that saw the film and get your thoughts on it and just hang out.
For everyone else, all my links are in the description. I'm all over the place, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. I'm on a bunch of other platforms as well. So check wherever you are, share out this video. Tell everyone to go see Girls Night In, starring the very lovely Skylar Benton. Skylar, thank you so much for coming on StudioJake.
Thank you for having me. That was awesome.
And for everyone else, I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment below, share this video out, and I would really appreciate it if you chose today to become a subscriber to StudioJake. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on all my socials that are in the description of this video, and I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake.